greatest moment in sim racing I've ever had.
Ty Higginbottom is your 5th annual GTR 250 champion. The 17 will win 2 weeks in a row. Rookie Jordan Kalinian, first career win in the NASCAR Series. Jared Ireland well on his way to the checkered flag. Adam Wilson victorious at Dover. Andy Hurdle first career win in the NASCAR Series. C.D. Megram to the checkered flag wins the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 175. This win is going to punch his ticket to the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Charlie Sears wins at Monza. Who is it going to be? Contact to the line! Kalini gets turned. C.D. Magram wins at Indianapolis. What a finish! Two races down, 1 round down. Many more races left to go, 3 more rounds to go. It's time for the second round of the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs for Season 5 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, to get underway here on iRacing. It's round 1 of 2 for the round of 10, where we're at the Last Great Coliseum in Bristol, Tennessee. It's Bristol, baby! The Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 begins our journey through the second round of the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Bristol Motor Speedway, Talladega Superspeedway, 2 weeks in a row of short track chaos, Superspeedway calamity, 10 drivers, only 8 of them can move forward to the next round. As we were talking about last week, the reward for getting through the first round is a short track and a Superspeedway, and it all begins here tonight at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. On the call here tonight, as per usual, of course, from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island with the play-by-play is Regan McCauley. You're hearing his voice right now here since Season 3. Alongside me, he's been here since the very beginning from the other side of the country in Alberta, Canada. It is Jordy Kerher here since Season 1. Jordy, how are we doing on this fine Tuesday night once again?
I mean, we're back, and, you know, it's been a little while since we've been in these particular parts. But you know what? I am very much looking forward to it here. And I mean, you've obviously upped your production game there, as I can see. But you know what? Let's just let the drivers paint the picture on the track tonight here, shall we?
Absolutely. Yes. You got behind me here. Decided to kind of stoop to your level from many races in the past. It's Bristol, baby. I mean, it's got plenty more nicknames. The world's fastest half mile, Last Great Coliseum, as I said earlier, the Bristol Bull Ring, Thunder Valley. I think I saw at one point online the Coliseum of Crash or something like that, but fingers crossed that we don't have that much calamity. I mean, again, remember earlier in the season at tracks like North Wilkesboro and Dover where, okay, maybe not North Wilkesboro, that might not be the greatest example, but back at Dover, for example, drivers went in with the fear that it was going to be an all-out melee, but quite frankly, we didn't really get anything until like the final 10 to 15 laps. It was an all-around clean race overall, but then again, though, it's going to be a different story here tonight at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, because, I mean, we've seen in real life
a little more on the line.
Yeah, and I mean, for its tight width, fast speeds, and quite frankly, as you come off the corner, the acceleration right off that corner, you don't have much time to get like fully right on the pedal and like, you know, fully going, because that next corner approaches very quickly. But of course, before we get into all the action here tonight for the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250, of course, we have to go back to last week where, will this guy ever stop?
I mean, that's literally the reason why he keeps winning. He hasn't stopped.
Yeah, and I guess I might as well spoil it too. It's looking like he's not going to stop anytime soon in current practice at Bristol right now.
Okay, good to know. So there's a 0 chance of anything changing at the moment. Granted, it is Bristol, so anything can happen.
Absolutely. Continuing on with a recap of last week, of course, with Jordan Kalinian getting his 6th win of the season, 6th career win in the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. And I always like to show off at least a second picture just to kind of show off what happened the previous week. I remember at Darlington, of course, we had that absolutely beautiful picture with the cars taking the green flag with the sun setting behind them. This time around, our little fun highlight is this incredible save by, fun fact, a former winner here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway and former winner at the Glen, or am I wrong on that?
Well, both. Well, I mean, you're right on both of those accounts.
Well,
but have we not also said that would be technically 2 former Bristol winners coming together?
Yeah, actually.
Our 2 active Bristol winners?
Yeah, good point. That's 2 former winners at Bristol Motor Speedway getting together here during, it was the green flag for stage 2 of the Rampage Coffee Co. 110, where, contact was made in the S's between the 64 Darcy Ford, the 17 of Corbin McCauley, and man, oh man, Ford, a bunch of other drivers behind the scenes even alluded to it. By far, the save of the year candidate right there by the Piping Kettle Soup Co. Chevrolet driver. And moving on to the full results of last week's race, where Jordan Kalinian just straight up dominated. Although you could argue, though, in the second stage, kind of a different story, because Kalinian had to battle a little bit of adversity with a speeding penalty that was not exactly his fault. And then he decided to play the long run game where he went down pit row, which led to Charlie Sears getting the stage win. And then Kalinian was able to come around the third stage and strategy pulled off just fine. You didn't really need to get any points whatsoever because he was coming off the win at Darlington that had already automatically advanced him into the round of 10 in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. But yeah, Kalinian, there they are. Kalinian leading 33 of 45 laps in the race, also won the pole. That's 2 races in a row where Kalinian won the pole and the race, Darlington and Watkins Glen. An absolutely perfect sweep of the round of 12. And then as you go down the leaderboard, you got a couple names in there like Charlie Sears, Jose Mercado, Andy Hurdle, Kyle Knoll at the bottom. The situation around the cut line heading into the round of 12 finale was incredibly close. There were guys like Sears and Mercado. They needed to have the best performance of the season and arguably of their career as well if they wanted to have a shot to make it into the next round. And especially Jose Mercado too, starting the race at the end of the pack with an EOL penalty as a result of an incident back at Darlington the week before. But he made it up to the top 5 by at least the second stage. And the rest of the way, stay inside the top 5, came home with a 4th place finish, absolutely locked himself into the round of 10. And again, going back to Charlie Sears as well with the stage win and the 2nd place finish, especially a turnaround for Sears too, after I believe what was a 4-race streak of not being able to finish inside the top 10. So a lot of drivers had to step up to keep themselves eligible to contend for the Earl Ross Cup, and a bunch of drivers in that top 10 certainly fulfilled that accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go back to Jose Mercado, again, he's a guy who's been here since day one. Even including his wins, I would say that's among his top 2 or 3 drives since he's been in the series. Again, just with everything at stake, knowing that he was outside the cut line to start and was starting from the back of the field. I mean, you couldn't have stacked the deck more against him given the circumstances. And, full credit to him. He found a way through. He's going to have to do it again here with this round of 10 reset. But, we'll get into that soon enough. But, hey, kudos to everyone who was kind of around that point, and, commiserations to Jared Ireland being on the outside looking in along with Mike Marini. But kudos again to all of those guys who did what they had to do, and, they're here to fight another day.
Indeed they are. There were a couple close calls and some unfortunate situations for a couple drivers last week at Watkins Glen, where Adam Wilson, for example, with a 12th place finish, Man, oh man, it was a close call for him as he dealt with issues last week, but he was still able to luckily advance his way into the next round, which certainly was helped by the unfortunate circumstances of the number 13 of Jared Ireland, who, again, we remember the multi-time winner in his first season here in the NASCAR Series, but for his second season, it just seemed like there was the inconsistency during the regular season. He started the playoffs on a high note with a podium finish at Darlington. And then for Watkins Glen, the worst possible timing. He just had to miss another race, like again, back in the regular season. Inconsistency. He had a couple weeks in a row where he was absent because I believe of a vacation, if my memory serves correctly. And then, again, having to be absent for another race at the worst possible time. But of course, it had to be for a very fair reason. There was some personal stuff going on for him, so very reasonable for him, but very unfortunate, again, for a guy that we saw how successful he was when he first ran with us back in Season 4 last year. And then, of course, the number 12 of Mike Marini, where, again, a driver that we've known in the past for his road course and open wheel prowess. Again, the competition was just fully against him. He tried with all his might, a hell of an effort, a hell of a work ethic to try and still keep himself alive and in contention for a spot in the next round. I mean, we saw him literally he decided not to pit, started at the very front, tried to gain some, take advantage of track position, but then we saw him get eaten alive by everybody else, and despite an 11th place finish, not too bad, just wasn't enough to get him moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at what everyone else was doing around him, because if you recall, he was actually on the bubble going into the night, if memory serves. But ultimately what did him in, everyone else around him was getting stage points, where he only grabbed 10th place in stage 1, good for 1 point. So missing out by 10 points, that's case in point. Mercado had 11 stage points last week. Marini had 1. The gap was 10 at the bubble. There it is.
So these were the standings after Watkins Glen. These are not the current standings in terms of the round of 10, which we will verbally get into later on. But with all that being said, this is where we lie now here in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, where, of course, 2 drivers going home, 10 drivers moving on, and now we're going to be eliminating 2 more here between these 2 weeks, tonight and next week, at Bristol Motor Speedway and Talladega Superspeedway. Of course, Kalinian, you see there with the 2 wins, sweeping the round of 12. Jordy, these 10 drivers that are still here with us and still eligible to get their name plastered on that illustrious cup there you see on the right side. Darlington, Watkins Glen, they were able to get through, but their reward for doing that... Short track at Superspeedway, baby.
I was going to say, you got to be heavy on the air quotes when you're saying reward there, right? Like,
yeah, quote
absolutely unquote. Does not get any easier whatsoever for our last 10 standing. And you know what? We say reward jokingly, but honestly, you almost have to consider it a privilege to have gotten this far, given the overall depth of field, which we've spoken of many, many times this year. It's felt like, for a good chunk of the races, at least half the field was in contention on a given night. And now that we're at a short track, yeah, I could see some things potentially getting flipped upside down. Hopefully not cars, though.
We may or may not get into a little bit of comedy relief on that in just a few minutes, but yeah, man, the competition is just going to keep ramping up and up. The parity is going to have yet again another all-time high point here in Season 5 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series. I mean, again, you got Jordan Kalinian, who's been extremely dominant as a recently 3-race win streak. Corbin McCauley's still been on top with a bunch of podium finishes and a win a couple weeks back. CD Magram, Ty Higginbottom, Tornado Alley racing drivers. Adam Wilson more towards the bottom again, though, guy in his first year. So, again, experience kind of plays a factor there versus Magram and Higginbottom. Andy Hurdle, Darcy Ford in there, Jose Mercado as veterans, Kyle Nolan his second season, Charlie Sears, the first-year driver, reigning IndyCar Series champion there. Like, this is by far going to be, like, this round and next round, we're going to start eliminating drivers that absolutely could have a shot at going for the Earl Ross Cup. Obviously nothing against Marini or Ireland, but as the rounds just start to get further and further here, we start to eliminate more drivers. Like, it's going to get worse once we get to the round of 8 when we have to eliminate 4 drivers and only advance 4. But this round right here is going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, no kidding. And again, it's funny, we talk about the depth of field still remaining in the playoffs, and yet you see the X2 next to Kalinian after the round of 12. First guy to do that in network history, by the way, sweep an entire round. So
yes,
that shouldn't get lost in anything either. And obviously, you know what? He's riding all sorts of high at the moment here. And you know what? It's going to be a tall task to stop him regardless. But if he maintains the form, look out.
And another way to put this round 2 is, honestly, I would argue any prediction anyone makes is probably going to be wrong. There's going to be at least one driver, I'd say, that's going to be eliminated when they don't deserve to. Maybe even 2 drivers. I mean, again, like Bristol tonight, we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Short track and blah blah blah. But then again, you got Talladega, where it's pretty much everyone's going to try and save themselves for the end, and then we might get all that calamity in the final closing laps. I mean, we saw it back last year when we had 2 races at Talladega, one in the regular season, one in the playoffs. But of course, we're going to get to more in depth with all of that next week when we do go to Talladega Superspeedway. But what we must focus on here tonight is the short track action at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. I mean, again, as I said earlier, a bunch of nicknames. World's fastest half mile, last great Coliseum. Enters its 4th year of operation in the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series. It last ran in 2022. Of course, left off the 23 schedule as we were prioritizing more of the bigger tracks and such for our first season on the iRacing platform. So again, yeah, first race within the iRacing era. We're going to see how interesting it gets compared to the NASCAR Heat 5, the console days. 0.5 miles, 0.8 kilometers in length, opened in 1961. It's hosted 2 annual NASCAR Cup Series races a year, including the Food City 500. Concrete surface, 24 to 30 degrees of banking in the corners. Straightaways are about 4 to 9 degrees. It is, for a short track like this, you may not think it's fast, but for short track standards, it is absolutely fast, especially when you're exiting off of the very, very steep corners. There are 2 pit lanes at this Coliseum Lake racetrack. We are using the single pit road version where cars, no matter where your pit box is, you must enter pit road on the backstretch pit lane off of turn 2 and wrap yourself around down the turns 3 and 4 apron onto the front stretch. And when you exit off of that front stretch lane, that's where you can exit pit road. That is certainly going to make things intriguing here when it comes to pit strategies and making sure that you don't speed or whatever and blah, blah, blah. So we do kind of have even though we do ride-alongs mainly on just the road courses, we have a bit of a ride-along to an extent here for how pit road is going to work. I don't know how you can perfectly visually see this, but there's a red line right there where it depicts how it all works with pit stops and such. I think a better way of doing this would be to get a driver actually doing this. So thanks a lot to competition committee member number 17 driver Corbin McCauley here, giving us a bit of a visual perception of how it works.
Yeah, I mean, keep it down low. That's all anyone can really ask. And I mean, you're talking about, interesting for pit strategies. How about adding some importance to the qualifying as well? Just getting that stall in the right position.
And that as well, too. And I can already tell, oh my goodness, I can already tell you right now.
He already has a pit crew. Wow, that's impressive.
I can already tell you right now, this qualifying order that we're going to get to is very interesting.
Oh boy, let's go.
The first guy might not be surprising, but down the lane, down the rest of the way, it gets interesting.
Okay,
so I'll put it that way. And we were talking about you were joking earlier about how hopefully not having cars go upside down, but maybe a bit of comedy relief.
I mean, yeah, may as well get it out of the way now.
Hopefully we don't see that tonight.
Yeah, four on the track, please, gents.
Yep, keep all four wheels on the racetrack. Hopefully we don't have a track blocker here tonight, which could very well happen at a track like this. But with all that being said, it looks like we're going to have 20 of the cars and stars of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. They're going to do battle here for 250 laps, 250 miles at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway under the lights, at least later on tonight. The sun is currently setting, and man, oh man, the photography opportunities are going to be absolutely incredible here once this race comes to an end. But anyways, I'm going to go into race control, give these drivers a quick message, give the command, the most famous words in motorsports, get these engines fired up for 250 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It is race 1 of the round of 10, the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 in just a couple moments. Stay tuned. And so the engines have been fired up here. The virtual Bristol Motor Speedway cars on the front stretch pit lane. You can already kind of tell what the qualifying order is just a little bit right there with that first look. But let's get a more in-depth view right here with the starting lineup for tonight's Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250. Starting on the front row, I told you, Jordy, it's literally no surprise whatsoever who's in first place again. It's the number 0 Toyota of first-year phenom Jordan Kalinian from Salisbury, North Carolina, looking to continue his playoff momentum, maybe even try to go for a sweep in the round of 10. Alongside him is the driver that is currently the number 1 contender for the Best of the Rest challenge here in the number 6 Ford for Warrior Racing in conjunction with GTR. It is the number 6 of Justin Belmonte out of Pachigo, New York. And moving on to row 2, where we have two drivers that, oh man, this would be, if these two drivers were in the round of 10, this would be an incredible start for them, but unfortunately, they're not with us anymore playoff-wise. The number 13 Chevrolet of Jared Ireland from Eudora, Kansas, and then the number 12 Toyota of Mike Marini from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Two drivers that they may not be able to go for a championship anymore, but they could still very well go for some race-winning trophies.
They can absolutely go as we go now to row 3 and rounding out the top 5 behind our two recently eliminated playoff drivers. The number 17 Bulger Motorsports Chevy of Corbin McCauley out of Charlottetown, PEI. It's weird that I'm announcing his name and not yours. Anyway, he's starting 5th. And on his Outside will be the number 33 Toyota of Trevor Binns out of Winter Haven, Florida. He starts 6th. Moving on to row 4, we got a couple more playoff drivers here, again denoted with the blue numbers. We start with the number 15 Storm Surge Esports Toyota of Kyle Knoll out of Wendell, North Carolina, starting in 7th. On his outside is the 519E Racing Chevy, the number 64, driven by Darcy Ford out of Harrington, PEI. The 64 will start in its square root spot of 8th.
And now moving on to the bottom of the top 10 and just outside the top 10, where we have the number 9 Toyota of Jason Heaney for Koopa's Racing out of Altoona, Wisconsin. Alongside him is the driver of the number 77 Ford driving for GTR from St. Catharines, Ontario. It is Hunter Young. And then on the next row here are a pair of playoff drivers on row 6. Starting 11th is the number 1 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota from Atlanta, Georgia. It is C.D. Magram. Alongside him, the driver that finished runner-up last week, looking to go one spot higher on the race and podium. It is the number 32 Chevrolet for 499 Racing from Charlottesville, Virginia. It is Charlie Sears.
And on to lucky row number 7, in drawing unlucky spot number 13 is the number 41 GTR Motorsports Ford of Jose Mercado out of Kissimmee, Florida. Again, a playoff driver still very much in the mix. On his outside, and that lovely Oregon Ducks livery that he's got on the number 16 Chevy, is Ryan O'Toole out of Portland, Oregon. He starts 14th.
And around
on row 8 now. And Tom Janikowski out of Appleton, Wisconsin, and his number 93 Chevy will start 15th. And a little bit of a surprise a little bit further down the field. If you recall, former winner at Martinsville a couple years back, North Wilkesboro this year, Ty Higginbotham in the number 97 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota starts 16th.
And to round out the rest of the field, starting on row 9, where we have in 17th, the number 10 Chevrolet of Jason Butler for 519E Racing from London, Ontario. Alongside him is Koopa's Racing owner, driving the number 80 from Georgina, Ontario. It is Mark Ouellette. And to round out the field, we have the driver of the number 21 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota from Laurel, Delaware. It is Adam Wilson. Remember, he won back at Dover earlier this season, so he's got a short track win on his resume. He'll look to get his second career win on a short track. Alongside him, rounding out the field, the Charlotte Motor Speedway winner, driver of the number 7 519E Racing Chevrolet from Daytona, Ohio. It is Andy Hurdle.
Man, oh man, playoff drivers all over the place, Riggs. This just feels like a perfect recipe for chaos, doesn't it?
Indeed it does. So, with all that being said, I imagine the pace car is going to be coming down pit road this time by...
Will it kill Kalinian's front end? Let's find out.
Or I guess not just yet. We're going to do one more lap here. So that'll be enough time to do the race analysis. 250 laps, 250 miles. Stages 1 and 2 are 62 laps each. Final stage 126 laps. Pit road speed is 35 miles per hour. And the fuel window is about 85 to 90 laps. So we won't see anybody coming down pit road more than likely in stage 1 if we stay a green flag racing. Maybe a couple guys might try some strategies here and there, but we'll see it. We'll probably see a lot more of that just past the first stage. And yeah, with all that being said, the cars are going to roll through turns 3 and 4, pace laps one more time. iRacing pace car rolls off, and we're going to go green. Short track racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. The Kyle's Fried Chicken Barbecue 250 is underway.
Yeah, we went green, but oh man, the green almost got into the back of Jared Ireland there in the form of Corbin McCauley, trying to make an immediate move, but getting stuck.
Kalini will lead the first lap. McCauley on the inside of Jared Ireland right now, trying to get underneath Mike Marini here down the back straightaway. Does it with ease.
That just had to find the space, basically, and yeah, up to P3.
17 making some strides here already. There's Hunter Young in 9th place. Jason Heaney looking to take advantage from behind. Adam Wilson already making his way up through the field here. He's behind Tom Janikowski. Almost contact through 3 and 4. They're able to keep things going there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting, dichotomy in terms of strategies here. Like, obviously, the guys who are at the head of the field, they're going to want to stay there. The guys at the back, though, like, they're going to have to fight through, and I think fight through pretty quickly, but obviously coming through all these cars on this half-mile track, that could invite some spicy situations here. So those guys will have to be careful in order to maximize their finishes here tonight.
And look at this, Belmonte, McCauley, and Trevor Binns. You could arguably put a blanket over them right here. Coming to lap 7, here is Belmonte to the inside of Kalinian for the race lead.
Yeah, this is shades of late Rockingham, except obviously polar opposite in terms of the timing. And opposite in terms of who's chasing who here, as Belmonte tries to get that inside line. Kalinian still getting the good run off the high.
Yes, again, the high line is going to start to be more prioritized as this race goes on, as the tires wear, because cars are going to start getting tight on the inside line, which, yeah, again, for tire wear, that's going to be extremely key. You can't push them too far. If you do that within like the first 10 to 20 laps, you'll really start to fall off. And there were some drivers talking here before tonight's race that you'll see a lot of drivers here that'll really charge their way up to the front almost immediately, but as the race goes on, you'll start to see them really fall back and lose the advantage to the long run cars.
And the thing about, this particular configuration, you're only looking at probably, well, pole time was in the 14s, race time, realistically, you're probably saying 15 seconds. That's roughly the time of a full pit stop that we've seen. Oh, caution, though.
Caution. Charlie Sears in trouble on the backstretch.
All right, I'll save the rest of that thought as we go back and figure out just what happened here to the 32.
It's almost like yet again, a 2.0. Remember back when Sears won at Monza, and then just 1 week later, crashes.
Well, I mean, you could even go make it even a little more recent, obviously caught up in a couple of things at Darlington as well.
Oh boy, contact with Jose Mercado.
Oh boy, yeah, a couple of guys, a little bit lower. Well, Mercado's outside the playoff line right now. Sears, by virtue of his win early in the year, starts the night at 7th. So, yeah, tight quarters. And not an inch given here by either guy.
Potential misjudgment there by Mercado, of how close he may have been to the left rear of the number 32. But clearly trouble there between the 32 and the 41 here. Early caution in stage 1 of the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Jordan Kalinian with the race lead. He and Justin Belmonte had a really good battle going on there for many laps, and so far, very impressive run by the driver, the number 33 Mobile One Toyota, Trevor Binns.
Well, we saw him kind of getting into form late in the regular season as well. He had a couple of decent runs. Pocono, I want to say Indy was in there as well, either before or after. So, the form was there. We were looking at him as a potential spoiler late in the regular season. So now that he's kind of come into his own, not necessarily a surprise to see him up toward the head of the field. Just, a case of a little too late for the 33 in the bigger picture.
Yeah, may have waited just a little too long there to try and be a spoiler for the playoff field, create an upset that would have eliminated another driver there that would have that was trying to get in on points. But yeah, again, a little too late. It was a third place finish, I believe, that the 33 got, despite being involved in that late pileup on the front straightaway coming to the checkered flag. It was Mason Tomlinson that finished in second. Tomlinson is not with us tonight, so hopefully we'll be able to see him at Talladega Superspeedway next week. Hopefully he'll try to go for his first career win in the NASCAR Series. But we're going to go green here on lap 16. iRacing safety vehicle pulls off. Jordan Kalinian leading the pack. Green flag.
And yeah, you were kind of talking about it earlier. You saw Kalinian on instinct going high into turn 1. So maybe a little bit of a management game being played off the restart there, but everything seems to be coming up Millhouse here for Kalinian over the course of the last month, really.
Ooh, Noel with a bit of a near squeeze there in front of Hunter Young trying to get to the inside. Ty Higginbottom and Young side by side. Look at that run from Higginbottom off the corner, trying to get near the rear bumper of Kyle Knoll. To the inside he goes of the 15. Kalinian ahead by about 0.3 or so as Belmonte and McCauley going at it here for the second position. 17 dives down to the inside just past the start-finish line. Trevor Binns holding firm as they are really catching up to Kalinian here. 4 cars in a bit of a blanket space right there.
Yeah, it's just kind of a full-on roller coaster off of this restart here, isn't it? I think just the high banking adds to the drama of it all here.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fast speeds because of the progressive banking, and in the short runs you really see everybody going at it here double file almost perfectly as Justin Belmonte's going to take the race lead here in his number 6 Warrior car.
Yeah, he got the run just right out of that turn, and yeah, again, for a guy who won 3 times last year, probably, obviously very early tonight over the course of our 250 laps, but perhaps a statement of intent saying, like, yeah, it might be out of the playoff picture, but hey, I'm still just as capable as anybody else.
McCauley getting past Binns for the 3rd position on the inside. Belmonte's starting to pull a gap there between him and Kalinian, almost half a second. McCauley charging after the 0 while Trevor Binns holds firm on the high side, now on lap 24 of 250.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent of the early parts of stage 3 there back at Dover. No, Belmonte kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah,
and that's arguably the craziest run I've seen in terms of like sustained pace.
Oh yeah, no, easily. And we saw it back at Dover too in the late, in the closing laps there until there was the contact there with the 17 McCauley's. Wow, Trevor Binns up to 2nd.
Again, he's another guy that I already talked about. It kind of showed his potential later in the year, but he's starting to feel comfortable in this particular mix as well.
Binns is 53 points behind Belmonte for the Best of the Rest Challenge Cup at the moment. Belmonte at the moment is 46 points ahead of Jason Heaney for that first position. So Binns looking to catch his way up to the number 6 in those points. And I mean, again, though, we had the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs, but we also had the Best of the Rest Challenge just so that the drivers that didn't make the playoffs still have something to go for. As, yeah, they're going for the lead. The 13 and the 64 are going at it here for the 5th position, trying to get after the number 17 of Corbin McCauley.
Yeah, and again, you have to wonder, like, yeah, you've got quite the mix of playoff and non-playoff drivers here, but ultimately, this is still a race for everybody. So we'll see, whether it's gentlemanly or more sporting in terms of those interactions between playoff and non-playoff drivers.
So we're approaching the halfway point here of this first stage. Belmonte in the lead. Trevor Binns charging after the 6. Again, we saw, as you were talking about, that late season momentum was really getting out there for the 33. A little bit too late, though, for a playoff spot. But again, though, for drivers that they either didn't make the playoffs or were eliminated in the last round, like Mike Marini and Jared Ireland, you can still go for race wins. Still try to make it up for the unfortunate circumstances of earlier weeks. Again, you can still salvage the season if you can get a win.
Absolutely, and I mean, look at these two taking the most of the opportunity. Like, that gap was huge there just a minute ago.
There's a bunch of battles going on all over the place. You got the battle for the race lead. You got the 17 and the 13 going at it. Shades of Kansas from last season.
With one Jordan Kalinian immediately in front of them.
Charlie Sears and Tom Janikowski are going at it in the back of the field for 16th.
Yeah, and that was just to get back to the point that I was making before. Like, any mistake here outside of maybe the super speedways, this feels like a spot where mistakes will be magnified, because any additional playoff or pit stops, I should say. Again, I was talking about 14 to 15 seconds usually being the range. that's about a lap here. Once you figure in, your entry and exits, you're probably looking at minimum 3 laps down. At least until the leader comes in.
Ben's got the wall. I think Kalinian may have as well.
Well, that was definitely a topic of conversation coming in. The accidental wall tapping, shall we say?
Yeah, quote-unquote accidental, but yes, it was very clearly noted behind the scenes that drivers you can get a huge advantage in the corners if you hit the wall, because then it helps to rotate the car faster through the corners. But it was said if drivers try to do that intentionally, then we're 3 wide.
Yikes! Oh, Ben's into the wall.
And that's not going to help either. That's going to have the 13 to 17 going by. I wonder if Benz might be using his tires up a little too much here early on.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a surprise necessarily, but I mean, the pace was there for a little bit. Ultimately, just a bit of a mistake. Just that little tap off the wall that's cost him a couple of positions.
Riding on board with the number 17, following in behind Jared Ireland. But yeah, as I was saying earlier too, though, yeah, sure, your car might get tight and you might hit the wall. That's fine. That's lack of driver control right there. But if you're intentionally using the walls as an advantage to rotate through the corners faster and take advantage of track position, then yeah, no, that's not going to work, as we're having another battle for the lead here with lap traffic approaching 6 versus 0.
Oh man, let's see what we've got going here. Again, shades of Rockingham with Kalinian chasing Belmonte. Now that order's right at least now compared to what it was earlier. But yeah, just speaking of the earlier run from Trevor Binns, who we see on camera, we'll pop into the YouTube chat super quick. And we see one Ben Summerford wishing the best of luck to the Koopa's drivers, Trevor Binns, Jason Heaney, and of course Mark Ouellette.
Appreciate your support for those guys and everybody else for their support of whoever they're cheering on here tonight in the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 at Bristol. As we wind down towards the end of this first stage, Belmonte and Kalinian going at it here. And at the moment, Kalinian is going for his 14th stage win of the season, while Belmonte, on the other hand, is going for his first.
Yeah, and again, a couple of weeks where he was missing certainly didn't help his cause there. Ultimately, it's what caused him to miss the playoffs, if we're going to be quite honest. But it's strange not hearing Justin Belmonte as a stage or race winner for this season, again, given the overall performance from last season when we first made the move to iRacing.
Yeah, it's been similar circumstances for him and the 13 of Jared Ireland. Of course, Ireland, though, with the win back at Kansas in the regular season. But yeah, only one win combined between those two, compared to the incredible first-year runs that we saw out of them back in Season 4. Man, oh man, it's just it's shocking.
It is, but it's also a sign that a lot of guys have caught up. That was the thing about making the move to iRacing. There were guys who knew it inside and out, and there were other guys who were brand new to it. Guys have caught up, and you see the end result of it here now.
Yeah, for example, again, you got this guy right here, the number 15 of Kyle Knoll for Storm Surge eSports. He, out of all those second-year drivers... Yeah, just tapped the wall there. Out of all the second-year drivers here, he's the only one remaining still eligible for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup, as he is currently battling it out with Darcy Ford and Ty Higginbottom towards the bottom of the top 10. Man, oh man, Higginbottom getting aggressive against Ford.
Yikes. But I love it.
And we have a battle for the lead again.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to see a lot of this over the course of the evening. I mean, we've already seen this battle, what, 2-3 times now?
Yeah, I mean, again, the final stage is 126 laps, so we'll see if let's say we go green for all of it or most of it, hopefully we get to see the strategies all play out, and then maybe we'll have that ultimate battle for the win. Man, Belmonte's going to get screwed over by Jason Butler there, battling for the lead. Lap traffic is going to help Kalinian, but it's not going to help Belmonte.
And that's just so much more pronounced in the short track. You see guys trying to get out of the way to maintain the racing, but the reality is there just isn't as much room as you would normally have. So you got to be on your game no matter where you are on the track.
And we were seeing that incredible early run there by Trevor Binns, but he's fallen back to 13th.
Yeah, so I think that might be exactly what you alluded to, just too much too fast.
And that's definitely going to be a key lesson for him as this race goes on, to try and stay conservative. But now here comes the 0, Jordan Kalinian to the white flag for stage 1. Just over a second ahead of Belmonte.
Yeah, and again, it's coming up on that lap traffic. Like, it was there for the taking. Kalinian just had the right line, and he reaps the reward.
Belmonte 2nd, Ireland 3rd, McCauley 4th, Higginbottom 5th, Ford 6th, Knowles 7th. Magrum is going to hang on for 8th, Mercado 9th, Jason Heaney in 10th, as there's the caution for stage 1.
Well, how about that? Not just the playoff drivers all the way through. I don't mind it being a little bit mixed up.
Yes, sir. We like to have our parity. I mean, again, you got kind of 2 championships going simultaneously here.
You very much do. And now that we've got stage 1 done, I will try and figure out the permutations of this particular championship.
Yeah, you figuring all that. I think you figuring that all of that out next week at Talladega might it might permanently damage your brain.
Nah, it's all fun. Because, I mean, ultimately, I like to know what I'm talking about as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we got a bunch of cars here coming down pit road. Of course, having to enter through turn 2. It's a lot of the drivers up front. Jordan Kalinian, Justin Belmonte is in. Jared Ireland, Corbin McCauley.
All right, and I've got some updates here for you while everybody's pitting. So, obviously, you know, Kalinian, well, we never really got into the opening order either, it should be said. So, Kalinian started the round on 3,053 points, just accumulating playoff points left, right, and center, and he's picked up another one here with the stage win. So he sits on 3,063 right now. His gap is plus 57 to the bubble, and we'll get into that in a second. But Corbin McCauley second, started at 3,041, finished 4th in this stage. So is 3,048, 15 back of Kalinian, but 42 to the good on relation to the bubble. And we've got a tie for 3rd here now between a couple of Tornado Alley guys here in the form of CD Mangrum, who started on 3,018 and finished 8th in the stage for 3 points. And then Ty Higginbotham started on 3,015, grabbed 6 for himself with the 5th place finish. Adam Wilson, no stage points there, so he's still on 3,014 and 5th, which is an 8-point gap. No stage points for Andy Hurdle either, so he's still on 3,013 plus 7 to the good. Darcy Ford's gotten himself out of the proverbial cut zone here. Or no, he was on the bubble, I should say, coming in. He's moved up a spot is what I'm trying to get at here. started at 3,004, picked up 5 points for the sixth place finish in the stage. He's now on 3,009. But again, the bubble is where it gets spicy. Charlie Sears, we saw him have that earlier incident, no stage points. 3,006 is still where he's at. He's now in a tie with Kyle Knoll on the bubble, as Knoll picked up 4 in the stage for finishing 7th. So they're tied on 3,006. Jose Mercado, despite his 2 stage points here in the opener, he's 1 point back of those 2 guys.
Any chance you could,
as they run.
Any chance you could put those in order?
Look at the raw data sheet. That's where I have them in order. Yeah, just ignore that first version of the spreadsheet. Just go with the raw data one. From
Oh, it's raw. Oh, yeah. Okay, I was actively blind there for a second.
No, it's understandable. I should say that
bottom.
First sheet is off limits.
At the bottom of the sheet. But with all that being said, green flag, stage 2 was on the nice lap. I think we're going to be on the next one. Indeed.
Well, I mean, you got to be relaxed when you're on the nice lap, so good to use a little bit of caution when you're on that nice lap, folks. It was right there.
Oh, I know. Talladega will be even more fun. Anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Kalinian with the lead here early in stage 2. Macaulay second, Belmont in third. Charlie Sears trying to make his way back into the top 10. On the high side of Bins here with that outside lane run. Gonna charge after Mike Marini, Andy Hurdle, almost 3 wide behind him with Kyle Knoll and Darcy Ford. Knoll with the slide up into the outside wall. Off of 4, right in front of the 64. They all keep it going just fine.
And that's the most important thing. The last thing you want to see is anybody, getting taken out and running it in.
Darcy Ford's around. Janikowski involved as well. Man. Caution.
Took the words right out of my mouth. God. Or spoken into existence, I guess, is probably the better way to put that.
A lot happened there.
I can tell you that was not a nice lap for a lot of these guys.
Caution on lap 75.
Now, it'll be very interesting to see just how much damage Darcy Ford has to fix up here, because, yeah, they're under caution right now, but as I was saying, the laps will still tip off, and this is where, even under caution, those pit stops will hurt in terms of laps down.
Ooh.
Man, oh man. Yeah, just going back on the YouTube, they're almost self-inflicted as much as anything, just a little bit loose. Might have slipped on a little bit of Bristol board that flew off onto the track. And yeah, up into the wall.
And then kind of nowhere to go for a couple other guys, like the 13, the 16, 93. The 93 may have gone in the inside wall there when all that happened. Yeah, he hit the wall trying to slow down. Tapped the inside as well. But yeah, it looks like a self-inflicted mistake there by the 2021 Series champion and also the inaugural winner of this race back in 2020.
Yeah, just didn't have the feel of it there, and yeah, just up into the wall. I guess I should probably be commentating on the live feed rather than watching the YouTube replays, but it's all going in the same direction.
And yeah, as you were talking about earlier there, as we were getting underway with the second stage, Darcy Ford currently being only 3 points above the cut line. What's that going to look like going into next week?
Not promising. I mean, we talked about Bristol, anything can happen. One thing that does have to happen to maximize your chances is staying on the track. So, maybe things happen around him. And I mean, there was a little bit of a fear of, maybe some extra cautions here given the nature of Bristol overall. But yeah, if you're Darcy Ford, once you get all fixed up and ready to go, it's got to be pedal to the metal just to try and salvage something out of tonight, because it doesn't feel like it'll happen in stages. It'll have to happen over the long run for the 64 in order to ultimately make something out of the evening.
And so it's going to be Kalinian, McCauley, Belmonte, Higginbottom, Jason Heaney, your top 5 here as we go back to green on lap 80 of 250.
Yeah, not even at 1/3 distance, and already a lot of stuff's gone down. And we go again.
Yeah, already clearing the way is the top 4. Now a little more than that, about top 7 now. Noland, Hurdle side by side. Now it's going to be side by side there with Sears trying to get the highline run there on Heaney. Almost contact between the 15 and the 1 behind them. So a lot of double file action about mid-packers. So they're really playing it close here, especially Nolan, Hurdle, Magram within the mix.
Well, I mean, not a surprise. Like, if you're a playoff driver, there's no way you don't.
Whoa!
Oh, boy.
Big save by the 32 down the front straightaway. He keeps his car on all 4 wheels and straight up into the 9. Into the side of Heaney, but again, he keeps it going. Near contact with Magram.
Running pretty loose.
Oh my gosh, his exits off the corners are just struggles.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a rough go of it here so far.
Ooh, Sears sent up the track there, possibly by the 7. Will take advantage into the top 10. Sears now going to be chased after by Mercado and Marini. Jason Butler also in the mix.
And again, remember, as we run live right now, Mercado is 1 point back of Sears. Not that it matters that much. Knoll is, a few places further up. But, that is immediate competition for the 41. So he's going to be desperate to find a way by, especially with the ramifications of, potentially getting into stage point territory later on.
Adam Wilson makes his way past Ty Higginbottom for the 4th position, about 3/10 or so separating the 0 and the 17 for the race lead.
How's that for a pretty quiet drive? Remember, Wilson started on the back row here tonight, didn't get any stage points, so he'll feel a little bit of heat. I wonder if maybe there's a different strategy call that's got him a little bit further up the field, but hey, 4th is 4th.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, Jason Butler is also having a bit of a quiet run here just outside the top 10. The Rampage Coffee Co. Chevrolet currently sits in the 10th spot.
Yeah, he's had runs like those before where he would just take off. I remember that happened a couple of times last season especially. But then ultimately it just wound up being a case of, overexerting the tires earlier on in the stint, and eventually he would fall back, but maybe the 10 is able to hold on this time. Because after all, we are in Tennessee, and he's the only 10 I see on the track.
So we got Kalini and McCauley separated by just under half a second while we have a 3-car battle here for the 3rd position. How about this charge by the 15? Kyle Knoll, who we saw back towards the bottom of the top 10, he's made his way up. Looking to battle against another second-year driver in Justin Belmonte for that 3rd position. Adam Wilson quietly behind, waiting for something to happen between those two. But yeah, now 3.5 seconds separating the top 2 and everybody else.
Yeah, Kyle Knoll kind of following the Dylan Baum formula from last year, knowing that he's a little bit further down. He's trying to just bust his ass here in the stages to keep himself competitive. And I mean, full credit to him. He's done the job here so far. Again, he's on the bubble here right now, but 4 points in that opening stage here tonight, finishing 7th. So, like, he's doing what he can, and you know what? Full credit to him.
Jared Ireland's going to go a lap down. I imagine the damage from that incident involving Darcy Ford on lap 75 is not helping his case whatsoever here on lap 97 now. Ooh, contact with Higginbottom. They keep things going.
Oh man, this is just going to keep getting more intense as we tick down the laps here, it has to be said. And we're not even halfway.
There's a bit of a fiasco going on there with Mark Roulette as well, which has led to the 50 and the 6 going side by side for the bottom of the podium. The 6 hangs on so far, but the 15 with a hell of a run, he's going to cross him over.
Yeah, that was massive off of that banking. Just got it right there. Not quite close enough to make the move stick. But yeah, we'll have to see if Noel goes for it again. Doesn't look like he's close enough right now, but certainly he's going high.
So it's all Kalinian and McCauley in the top 2 still. No surprise whatsoever there, but it's still very early to really confirm if it's going to be them the rest of the way. We've seen that happen many times this season. It's always those two going at it. It's just absolute greatness that we're witnessing between the first-year driver and then a driver that's been here since the very beginning back in 2020. And yeah, the parity just keeps on going here through this top 10. You got playoff drive. You got, I think, 7 playoff drivers, and then 3 of them are not in the playoffs. So a couple playoff drivers, a couple best of the rest guys. There's someone going down pit road. That is Jared Ireland.
And again, you can kind of talk about it earlier, wondering if maybe there's something going on as a byproduct of the Darcy Ford incident. Speaking of,
I wonder.
Well, briefly out, but back in.
Yeah, Ford might be trying to see if he can still salvage some sort of a finish here, despite the fact that I remember during that crash, you could see the engine smoke and you could hear that sound effect of it, quote unquote, blowing up. It looks like Hunter Young was definitely a major victim of that incident there. I recall him hitting the wall. He may have maybe gotten into the rear end of someone, or maybe someone hit him, but he's still in his pit box at 31 laps down. Darcy Ford's going to make his way back into his box. Unsure if he's going to be able to continue or not. But back here on the racing surface, it is Kalinian still in the lead by about almost 0.8 over the 17. 6 seconds separating, or under 6 seconds separating the top 2. And Justin Belmonte, Kyle Knoll getting really close up against the outside wall. Wilson, Higginbottom, Heaney's in there. Quiet run for him. Trevor Binns, slightly better run compared to what we saw back in stage 1, where he fell all the way back to as low as 13th when he was running for almost the lead.
Yep. And, you know, the thing about the occasional battles between Belmonte and Knoll, that's just going to help clear space for Kalinian and McCauley to run away even further. And I mean, 6-ish, 5.5 second gap, like, unless you're coming up on lap traffic, like, that's, you know, just a little bit less than half of the standard lap. So, you know, it's, again, just magnified that much more at Bristol, as Wilson has a little bit of a dance with the wall.
Jason Heaney's going to try and take advantage of that and try to gain an extra stage point here, while Ty Higginbottom gets ahead of the 21. It looks like Hunter Young is back out on track. Darcy Ford, on the other hand, it appears as though he has disappeared off the timing screen. So yeah, it says on the leaderboard on the screen there as well, it appears Darcy Ford is a casualty of the last Great Coliseum.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to give him the minimum 17 points here tonight. So that'll almost surely put him on the outside looking in going into Talladega next week.
Yep, not the track where you want to be in that situation. Going in.
No.
Not even
Definitely
close.
not.
So under 10 laps remaining here in this second stage, where it looks like, once again, this guy is going to do it again. Maybe.
I was going to say, like, it almost sounds like a meme, almost like that, who's got, you know, 2 thumbs and is willing to do whatever? This guy, or however it goes, but you get the point. Like, it's just, this guy's doing everything at the moment, and everything right.
So, if he goes on to get the job done, this would be his 5th stage win within the last 4 races, including tonight.
Yeah, so, well, 3rd and 4th in the playoffs, first of all. That's ridiculous. So, 4 stage wins, a 2nd, and then stage 2 at Watkins Glen last week, obviously. We saw him run into a couple of things there, but that is just unparalleled. I don't know if I've seen that. Even going back to Corbin McCauley's early dominance last season, I don't know if I've seen quite that level from anybody to this point in the 5 seasons.
Absolutely. We saw the veteran dominating last year. Now this year, it's a first-year driver, but again, we can't really use the rookie term. We just can't. Kalinian has the highest I rating in the whole field. He's got a higher I rating than McCauley does.
Yeah, so again, like, it's used purely out of continuity perspective, but you know, Jordan Kalinian, you know what you get with him, and what you're getting right now is, again, unparalleled dominance.
I mean, you can make a joke right now that how the hell does he not have any sponsors on the car with how he's performing?
Well, I was going to say, how much of a joke even is that?
Exactly.
Like,
so
could be a serious conversation.
That's a stage checker flag for Kalinian. McCauley 2nd. Belmonte versus Higginbottom for the 3rd spot. I think Higginbottom got it. Noel 5th. Wilson 6th. Heaney 7th. Binns 8th. Mangrum 9th. Hurdle rounding at the top 10. Caution out. And I think Higginbottom barely got it.
Yeah, that'd be one worth replaying at the line, certainly.
We'll have to do it very quickly, as everybody's going to be coming down pit road here for this, to get ready for this 3rd and final stage. But yes, we must look back at that one, and we're going to have to...
And yeah, Belmonte gets a good run here up on that high line coming toward the line.
That's a tad slow, but...
But you could see where he was coming from gap-wise.
And though coming to the... Okay, sorry.
Well, no, that's how I actually sounded about 15 minutes before we went on the air.
Bam.
Yeah, Higginbotham's got it.
Yep, there you go.
So good eye on that in real time.
Okay, we're pitting. I have to get back.
Yeah, I expected you to. I'm already looking at points.
Now, can we get a finish like that for the actual finish of this race?
That would be phenomenal. It feels unlikely at the moment, but, you know, Bristol could Bristol.
It's Bristol, baby.
Indeed so.
So I believe all the lead lap cars came down that time. Now all the lap cars will head down pit road. Oh boy, did the 17 do a certain thing?
I was going to say, I'm not watching at the moment. I'm going by your wall reactions, if there are any.
I can confirm I've heard nothing.
Okay, that is, well, there is a message, however.
You sped by 1 mile per hour. Ouch.
I was going to say that almost has some, and sorry to bring this back up, 7, but Andy Hurdle at Sonoma vibes. Or was it a different track? I'm trying to remember. There was one where he was like, 1 mile an hour.
Something like that.
It was somewhere in that range of the schedule.
Anyways, after 129 of 250 laps, we've had 4 cautions, 109 laps under green, 20 laps under caution, 4 lead changes, 2 different leaders, Jordan Colleen with the fastest lap because who's surprised? Partly cloudy, 27 degrees Celsius, we're under the lights. Grip, green flag, final stage.
Man, oh man, that caution flew by.
Yes, we gotta get back racing.
I mean, I'm not objecting to it because there's some that have, arguably been painfully too long. So I like this.
We're gonna see how quickly the 17 can charge his way up to front. Oh, trouble! CD Magram's around.
And there's the caution.
Jared Ireland about slid into a pack of cars there into turn 3. But trouble for another playoff contender, and it collects Hunter Young again.
Man, oh man. He usually runs the 3.7s on the side of that car, but Hunter Young has had 0 luck tonight. My God.
And the next week he's going to the track that he won at last year.
Where he might have all the luck, yeah. Yeah, a little twitch there from Noel.
Oh, yeah, just lost the rear end entirely. Ooh, Marini gets hit. There's Young. Oh, my gosh, Jared Ireland.
Yeah, just the old door banger there. Not intentionally, certainly, just carried way too much speed to be able to react.
We're going to need a...
He almost flew to the University of Northwestern Ohio had he hit a different angle.
Yeah, there was still a hit, though, with Hunter Young, but that could have been much worse.
Yeah, it could have been a full launch.
Yeah, remember that video I showed in the pre-race show?
Yep.
Exactly. We came.
Yeah, it could have been that.
We probably came a couple feet away from that.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Noel that got collected in that one, right? I believe it was.
This recent
Not
one,
that it matters now, but
which one?
Well, the practice one, but I forgot that it was Mangrum. The cars look kind of similar in Potato Vision. I totally blanked.
If it was Mangrum, that aged well.
Yeah, but no, we're all right. And yeah, while we're still under caution, that gives an opportunity to again update the live unofficial folks standings as they run here right now. So Kalinian's gap after sweeping the 2 stages is plus 67 to the bubble. So he's at the top, 16 points between himself and Corbin McCauley in second, who's on 3,057. Then there's a 28-point gap between second and third, with Ty Higginbotham occupying that spot after a third-place finish in Stage 2. He jumps CD Mangrum. They were tied after Stage 1. There's now a 6-point gap between those two. Mangrum plus 17 to the good. Adam Wilson still running 5th, plus 13 to the good at the moment. Andy Hurdle 6th. He's plus 8. Kyle Knoll, again, another strong stage performance, top 5. That gets him 6 points above the cut line. The cut line's presently occupied by one Darcy Ford, who we know will finish 20th here tonight. So he's sure to drop down the standings. And The bubble is 3 points between himself and Charlie Sears at the moment. And Jose Mercado is 4 points on the outside looking in as they run right now.
Appreciate that analysis there very much. We're going to have 112 laps to go here in the Cows Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Again, that's literally all 3 stages. We've had an early caution, an early incident of some sort, and then we've had a long green flag run, so we'll see how that shapes out here in this final stage, but things are going to ramp up here. Kalinian takes the green flag, Kyle Nolan second.
Yeah, again, Noel, like I said earlier, trying to deploy the Dillard bomb, like get the job done in stages, and threatening toward the end. Didn't win until the season finale when he was already out last year, of course. But Kyle Noel, he's pushing here, and so's Mercado. Oh boy, right on the back of hurdle.
With all that's happened with the 41 here tonight, it wouldn't surprise me if there might be a little bit of a loss of patience out of him. Oh, caution's out.
Oh, boy.
For Marini? Charlie Sears? Okay, Charlie Sears might have been the culprit.
Well, it's a short track. There aren't a whole lot of places to look.
Oh, yeah. Something happened.
All right, let's see. Yeah, Sears, just loses it out of the turn. And I noted a little bit earlier, it felt like that car was running loose because some of those exits, as you rightly mentioned, were just violent almost. And yeah, that was just a bridge too far for the 32. And again, that's another playoff driver affected by something, and that might actually give Darcy Ford a little bit of a reprieve here since Sears is currently behind him in the standings.
Yeah, remember Darlington, we had 3 playoff drivers in trouble. We have 3 in trouble here tonight as well, although okay, no, Magrum is still
is the constant.
Yeah, Sears is the constant. Ford is out. Magrum is 7 laps down in his box, so unsure of how long he might stay in there. But as we look here at the field still on the track, man, oh man, look at that driver in second place. The number of times that we've seen this guy since last season show flashes of brilliance. The number 1 race I remember, Iowa Speedway, we saw him really coming out in that long run, and had CD Magrum not, had that little dominant run there towards the end, Kyle Noel was right there, ready to pounce and finally get a long-awaited first career win. He still hasn't been able to get it just yet, but this would be a massive sigh of relief going into Talladega if he were to get the job done tonight, especially knowing how he was about on the bubble last round.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, he started this round 10th. So
yeah,
if he can find a way to steal one here, well, steal is a bit rude in this case, but if he's able to come through in a timely manner here, I guess would be the better way to put it.
Yeah,
that completely flips the script on this round of 10.
I mean, hey, Kalinian probably wouldn't want to go into Talladega without a win himself either. Kind of more so the Canadian eMotorsports network-wise, more inexperienced version of someone like the 17 going for all the wins and everything. Even saying that doesn't even sound right, but anyways, yeah. And then someone like Justin Belmonte, obviously not in the playoffs, but for his efforts in the Best of the Rest challenge, he still would want to try and gain a bigger points advantage, even though there are plenty of guys behind him that could very well start catching up. Jason Heaney, Trevor Binns. Jason Butler might try to get himself into the battle if he's able to keep up with a good run here tonight, as he continues to do very quiet there just outside the top 10. But then there's a bunch of playoff drivers that we'll see how they progress as this third and final stage goes on. We'll see if they're able to remain patient towards the end. Adam Wilson, Ty Higginbottom, Andy Hurdle. Corbin McCauley's going to have to try and get through all this traffic. back up to the front. He's going to need all the patience in the world to try and maybe breathe a sigh of relief going into Talladega. Green flag back out. Jordan Kalinian with the race lead.
And Noel with the immediate block on the lower line.
Looks like McCauley was able to get through all that just fine, as now he's up to 8th in behind Hurdle. To the high side he goes. Trevor Binns to the inside. May have given Higginbottom a bump. Whoa! Binns with a bit of a odd moment there on the outside that had to make the 17 pull back, stay out of trouble. But he gets ahead of him anyways on the other side of the track. Now the 17 will try to get ahead of the 97 as, ooh, the 7 almost dove down underneath the 33, but he backs off. Thank goodness.
I thought there was going to be a turn there for sure. Ooh. But yeah, everybody going in the right direction still.
17 gets past the 97. Now he's going to go after Wilson on the high side. Wilson charging after Belmonte. CD Magram is back out on the racetrack. McCauley easily getting past Wilson. He's now going to charge after Ham Dover opponent.
Yes, and I mean, we know how that ended up in the case of the number 6, which again was cruel in hindsight given, you know, the miss of the playoffs and just how well he was running that night.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Kalini and Knowles separated by about half a second. And then there's Belmonte, McCauley, Wilson. Bit of a pack going at it there down the front straightaway. Magram looks like he's going to go back to pit road on lap 153. But with all that being said, we might as well give a quick shout out to all the sponsors and partners that help to make all this possible here within the Canadian eMotorsports Network. Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, series title sponsor, also tonight's race title sponsor. Rampage Coffee Co., Piping Kettle Soup, Forked River Brewing Company, Bangerang Hard Seltzer, Nordic Aluminum, GSGSG Vinyl 3D, GTR, and of course, to power the Crank It Up, TrackCams22.com. Thank you very much once again for providing us with these amazing camera packages that you see for each and every race here within the Canadian eMotorsports Network on iRacing. It's the TrackCams.com, TrackCams22.com. Crank it up. Well, that aged poorly.
Barely got to the crank.
I really thought we had it, but that's another playoff contender in deep trouble. Whoa, someone else just spawned. Adam Wilson. What in the world?
Another playoff driver.
There's
just going to be attrition at this point.
There's a car's front end going all over the place that might be from the 16 of Ryan O'Toole, but as soon as we try to go to the Crank It Up, carnage.
Well, we had the perfect look of Andy Hurdle going into the wall. We just happened to be on the right angle when it happened. Oh, I see a bump.
Okay, a millisecond of a preview there. Oh, Higginbottom.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he had it saved, and then Heaney got into him. Hurdle into the outside wall. Loses the front end. Oh,
boy.
man.
Yeah.
That was Ryan O'Toole getting into Hurdle.
Yikes.
But what happened with Wilson?
Avoidance.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And was there anything, was everyone able to avoid him in the aftermath? So this is Wilson sideways.
Okay, Ireland. Oh, Ireland got into the inside wall.
Just trying to avoid Wilson as the yellow was already out.
Ooh, we have a bunch of cars coming down pit road.
Yeah. We'll have to see, because, like, obviously this stage being, you know, pretty much twice the length of the others, you're going to see some different strategies being deployed. And, you know, outside of the caution stops, or like the stage cautions, I should say. How many green flag stops have we had? I don't think we've had any, have we?
Besides the crash cars, no.
Yeah. So this is a prime opportunity to, try and make something out of it. Maybe make a strategy gamble.
This could make things really interesting as the top 5, that's Kalinian, Noel, Belmonte, Macaulay, and Binns, have not pitted in 33 laps. Everyone from 6th to 12th. 6th to 11th is all lead lap cars, and then O'Toole is 3 laps down. Those guys, that group, just pitted. All of them took 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah.
So, oh my.
Yeah, and we're already seeing, we're seeing some apologies for the latest caution trigger here in the background.
Yeah, I mean, Higginbottom's a shocking culprit for that one, but again, though, you gotta feel bad for someone like him. He's the kind of guy where we all know he's the kind of guy that does not intend to do any of that at all. But sometimes crap happens with some of the good guys.
It does, for sure. And, he's already acknowledging that feeling as well. But
Which, yes, taking that responsibility is... That right there is good.
Yeah, and there's the confirmation. Well, we'll get into that in a second because we're back to green.
Yeah, green flag, Jordan Kalinian in the lead. Noel and Belmonte side by side off a turn 2. The 17 gonna get within the mix as we have 11 cars remaining here on the lead lap. Side by side, Macaulay and Belmonte for third. 17 gonna try to use that high line advantage off the corner. He will get past the 6, who still tries to dive to the inside. Kalinian remaining the middle to high there in front of everyone behind him. Noel going to charge after him. 17 with more of a middle lane presence right there behind the 15 on lap 165. Diving to the inside. The 15 also goes there as well. Maybe a tad bit of a block attempt. Not really, but anyways.
Yeah, and obviously now that we've seen all the calamity here so far, Adam Wilson surviving that after that spin under the caution, that will prove very pivotal for the 21 as he's able to retain 7th in the midst of all that. And, he's got 4 playoff drivers who are at least 10 laps down, one of them out.
So yeah, if this was the round of 8, that'd be half of them.
Yes. Yeah,
we're not there.
A very, very different conversation, I think.
Yeah, we're not there just yet, but if we had this kind of a situation, then that would be huge when we get to that point.
Yes.
But for the round of 10, though, it's 6 drivers currently that are doing just fine. Wilson getting past Higginbottom for 6th. Kalinian still half a second ahead of Noel, who still not too far behind. Neither is the 17, Trevor Binns, up into higher parts of the top 5. Belmonte had a loose moment there down the front stretch, which dropped him back to 5th. Still holding firm. We're going to see how this all plays out for some of the drivers behind them. 21, 97, 41, and the 10, and a couple other guys in there that just came down pit road under this latest caution. We're going to see how it plays out as the long run goes.
Indeed so, and you'd have to think we're looking at it's probably one more stop anyway.
Yeah, fuel window is 85 to 90.
Okay, so maybe not.
It might
be interesting on tire wear, though.
It'll take some time for things to play out. Right now, it's just a matter of patience as, we were seeing a couple of drivers back and forth behind the scenes being professional with each other after what just happened there involving Andy Hurdle, Ty Higginbottom, kind of Adam Wilson, Ryan O'Toole as well. But it looks like since things have calmed down for the time being, fingers crossed this time, let's try it again. Yeah. TrackCams22.com, crank it up with a bit of a voice crack. And, well, that, yet again, another crank it up that aged poorly, and, that one did run for a couple laps, so I think we will happily just keep it there, and we'll just let the racing go on. Who knows? But caution out on lap 179 for the number 80 of Mark Roulette, 7 laps down. He spun around. So we'll get the replay here of what happened with him. Just a single car incident by the looks of it. Or not, there was neck code by the looks of it with the 13 of Jared Ireland, so we'll take a look here. Oh, yeah, Ireland got loose into the inside wall, up the track, neck codes into the 80, so that was much bigger than it originally looked. And then Magram had to go up the track just a little bit there off the apron onto the racing surface just to avoid all that. But yeah, again, Jared Ireland with another issue. Driver's side inside wall, and very clearly neck code with the 80 as there was no contact whatsoever. Well, I mean, there was, but not visually. You can see it right here. Yep, clear neck code. And now here come all the leaders down pit road. This is going to make things interesting. So 4 tires and fuel by the looks of it for all of them. Here on lap 181. And is the man back?
Yes.
Okay,
Just
so...
in time to see some leaderboard movement, apparently.
Yeah, a bunch of the leaders came down pit road.
Alrighty then.
And here is what happened with Ouellette. And it wasn't just him.
Yeah, we'll get another. Yeah, just oof. Yeah, comes. Oh, that looks like net code.
Yep, that's exactly what I said. That was a very much a net code incident against the number 80.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ireland with a loose moment there, down the back stretch, into the inside wall, collects the 80 with net code. And so, incident-related caution-wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our 5th incident-related caution.
3rd in stage 3 alone, I believe.
Yeah, 4th, I think.
I thought we had 1 in each of stages 1 and 2.
We have 1, or... Did we have 1 in stage 1?
Yeah, I thought
we
had
did.
one,
Yes,
like,
we did. Okay,
and that's it.
Okay, my eyes had to figure it out there. We had 1 caution in stage 1. We have 1 caution in stage 2. And now we've had apparently 4 in stage 3.
Man, oh man, what did I miss? You take 1 bathroom break.
Anyways, green flag.
Yeah.
Adam Wilson's in the lead. So, again, those the 2197, all those other drivers that pitted on lap 160 versus these guys that just pitted on lap 181, that's 25 lap stints versus now 4.
Yeah, now you're seeing some different strategies play out. This is, if it wasn't spicy before...
Oh, the 17 gets turned!
Oh, man. And, yeah, there's another one.
Almost collected the 15. Marini gets into the right side of Macaulay.
And somehow the pace car just, exists.
Another playoff driver in trouble.
Nobody's safe here tonight.
Talladega is next week, guys.
Well, it's funny, were we not saying last week Bristol's next week?
And Bristol's next week. Talladega's in 2 weeks. God forbid.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, again, you were talking about all the strategies playing out, drivers getting involved in traffic and such. Yep, this is what happens. But the question is, how though? Oh, he slid up. By the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yikes. Oh, there was like a millisecond of something there. Something.
I can tell you there's going to be far more than a millisecond of chatter after this one.
I'm going to try to see if I can get some sort of an angle of it in slow motion here with the 17. Like, yeah, there's a bit of a bobble there. And then up the track.
Yeah, and that's, what gets him sideways. Good avoidance from pretty well everyone here. Noel's just going to sneak. Oh, no, he doesn't sneak through. Gets it on both sides. Because I think he actually tagged that inside wall as well. He just got squeezed.
So, so for playoff drivers that are not in trouble, that is 1 Wilson, 2 Higginbottom, 3 Mercado, 4 Kalinian, and then everyone else has been in trouble.
That guy in third's looking like a pretty spicy option right now, isn't he? He's, again, running 10th in the playoffs as it stands.
Yes, sir. Give us a Jose Mercado win.
I would suggest he would say the same thing, as I believe, he'd be very much on a dry spell right now. You have to go back to Phoenix in 2022 for his last win. So that is spanning, so this is round 18 of this season. So this is a 39 race drought that he's on in terms of victories. And this is a guy who's been in 2 championship fours.
Yeah, again, trying to bring back the console days when he did make the Final Four. Trying to do it here on the second season on the iRacing platform. But yeah, that's now 4 playoff drivers. I guess you could say technically. I think.
Well, only 5 of them are in the top 10.
You know what? Technically, only one of them hasn't been involved in something. Technically, one.
And that would be the guy who's been in the lead for 95% of this, would it not?
Yep, because Wilson had a bit of a spin. Higginbottom sent Hurdle around. Green flag.
Yeah, that's
green flag out. Kalinian's been involved in nothing.
Oh, man. I'm just laughing at some of these restarts now at this point.
Nothing I'm saying is aging well.
No. And neither is your commentary partner. I'm aging worse as this goes along.
That laugh spoke for itself. It spoke for everything.
Well, I'm waiting for that now to be cut for something in the future. Where do we even go from here?
I'm at a loss for words, and yet we still have we're approaching 55 laps to go. Yes, 55 laps still remaining in this damn thing. And yet I was just talking about only one playoff driver not being involved in something, and yet we had Kalinian having to split the middle on that restart.
Oh, boy.
Because, yeah, Wilson, as I said earlier, Wilson had a bit of a spin under caution. Higginbottom got into Hurdle. Kalinian, close call there, but still nothing. Mercado got into Sears. Macaulay had just had that incident. Kyle Knoll got into the 17. CD Mangrum was sent around. Andy Hurdle was sent around. Charlie Sears is out of the race. Darcy Ford's out of the race.
What did I say earlier about Bristol's gonna Bristol? Hit Bristol.
We might get some surprise top 10s out of drivers not even in the playoffs. One of them, Tom Janikowski's in 8th. And yeah, he's been involved in stuff. He was in the wall at one point.
And yeah, it was Heaney who ultimately got Hurdle turned around for his incident. And, you know, again, we're talking about this. Look out, Trevor Binns. Very much right. Well, he was right there. Then he disappeared there. He's right there again.
To the inside he goes. He's gonna try and have the 21 lose the advantage to Ireland. Lap traffic. Oh, contact!
Oh boy. Bend it. Race leader taken out. Caution. Oh boy.
So let me get this straight. If I put this race into a highlight reel, I'm probably going to be editing for an entire day.
I would say at this point, just leave the whole race up.
That too. That's why we have our race replays up.
Well, I mean, it's going to be, you know, you're going to see more crashes than actual racing, I think, eventually.
Anyways, replay. So Binns went up the track a little. Oh yeah, went up the track. Was there?
There was a bit of back and forth there. It looked like. And
did they touch?
Obviously,
hang on.
See, out of 4, obviously Wilson's jammed up behind Ireland here, so Binns has the advantage.
Hang on, watch it. So Binns slid up just a little bit. Netcode. That was netcode.
I don't see anything.
They never touched. It was netcode until they got together right there, and then Wilson went around.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cruel for Adam Wilson, because again, he pretty much has done worst to first here, or had up until that point.
I'm at a loss for words, man.
Well, I can tell you what probably won't be at a loss for words. The protest inbox.
How many of those are we going to have?
I was going to say, I'm sure there's going to be some books written about tonight.
So a couple cars down pit road, including Higginbottom and Mercado. Looks like the both of them went for 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, and so while we're looking at the board, there's the official classification. Like, just going back to Charlie Sears for a second, officially now Hunter Young's been out on the track longer, so that's going to lock the 32 into that 19th place finish. So again, Darcy Ford having the, you know, unfortunate luck that he had with what we suspect to be a blown engine earlier. That blow slightly softened by a driver behind him in the standings, only gaining 1 more point. So at worst, Ford will be 9th after tonight.
All right, I'm terrified to click this button. Oh, God.
Okay, so cautions a lot. Laps under green, not enough. Laps under caution, too many for our liking. And yeah, lead changes. I like that number being high because, you know, it shows it's competitive.
Trevor freaking Binns has the fastest lap.
Well, I mean, again, we've talked a couple of times about the form he's had, and, you know, he is our race leader right now. I can't even say he was challenging for it anymore. Granted, with who's on the outside of the first row, we'll see how long that lasts.
You have Belmonte behind him on the inside. You have Kalinian on the high side, and then you got Macaulay without a front end on the high side. Green flag.
Yeah, this might be fun.
Tom Janikowski, top 5 finish.
Hey, anything's possible at this point.
You know what? Because I just said that, that's probably not going to happen now. Sorry.
Well, I mean, he dropped to 8th right after he said that, so that's not helpful.
Top 10 finish. Just stay in the top 10. That's all.
There you go.
17 got, I think, onto the front stretch wall there on the previous lap. He's in behind the 6. Kalinian's going to be chasing down Bins for the race lead.
Yeah, I think we forgot to tell everybody going in that this is actually a break from the Earl Ross Cup playoffs. This is more a special event demolition derby you're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, we're just gonna cancel this race outright. Talladega is gonna be the only race in the round.
Yep, that sounds about right.
We said nothing.
Yep.
So a bunch of cars have turned into Kyle Larson with the high side runs, except for the 17, who's dove down to the inside of the 6, trying to battle for position, got loose off the corner. Impressive that he's able to do this without a front end. There's Jose Mercado getting past Adam Wilson for 6th.
I was going to say, what front end?
Jason Butler into the top 10 past Kyle Knoll. Jared Ireland following in behind, although he's 42 laps down. Knoll pounds the wall where it says the last great Coliseum. Darlington was a harder hit than he would want. Darlington was a few weeks ago, buddy.
Yep, couple weeks. Everybody loves their walls around here, apparently.
So 35 laps to go. 35 laps to go. Bins may have just gotten the outside wall there a little bit as Jordan Kalinian's going to go for the race lead, but Bins is going to hold firm on the high side. Lap car of Hunter Young ahead.
And he's taking the low line, so
dive!
Bins might have...
He got him.
Jeez. He got him, and he got him cleanly. That was the single most important thing in this one.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, like, inevitably when we get to Kalinian's corner here in about 30-ish laps, that is definitely a relevant question because there's more of a stop-start feel to tonight's proceedings compared to pretty much just a straight drive a couple of these last few weeks.
So about half the field left on the lead lap. 2 cars are 10 or less laps down. You got a bunch of guys that are 26, 30, 42. Hunter Young at 66, and then you got 2 playoff drivers out of this race and could be potential for a must-win situation next week at Talladega. We'll have a lot more on that as the official points come out after tonight's race with the points all added up, but it's looking as though we could have a driver here going for 4 wins in a row in the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian, who, man oh man, he's led 146 laps here tonight. If we were to combine the all the laps led, he's going to now have, he's had 3 poles in a row, could go for 4 wins in a row, and then for the stage wins, of course, now at 15. Good God.
Somehow I think he's doing all right.
He's doing all right. It's not like it's a display of absolute brilliance or greatness or whatever. As here's a battle right here with a couple of 9s out of 7 for Higginbottom for the 5th position. Trevor Bins is starting to fall back. Oh, 3 wide through the middle is Macaulay Knoll dropping down a lap. He falls back. You got about 5 cars here that you could arguably put a blanket over. I think Mercado may have just sent Higginbottom to the outside wall. And can you believe?
Yeah, Higgy definitely with a top.
And can you believe it? The 17's up to 3rd.
I mean, if anyone's going to make it happen with a car in that condition, the first guy you'd probably, well, it'd be a 1A, 1B between Kalinian and Macaulay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Macaulay trying to hang on with all his might while Heaney and Higginbottom are going at it for 4th.
Yeah, and Heaney, that's a sneaky one there as well. Obviously, we saw what happened earlier between, well, he was kind of the follow-through on Andy Hurdle getting into the wall. But, you know, he had his moments as well as, was he getting loose there out of that turn?
I think Heaney might have had a loose moment there as Mercado gets past him. It's now Higginbottom versus Macaulay for third. Kalinian is hanging on over Belmonte by almost 2 seconds. We're approaching 20 laps to go here in tonight's race. Kalinian well on his way to winning his way into the next round, which knowing who's left and knowing who's left and the drivers that would love to have a free ticket to the round of 8 and have no pressure whatsoever going into Talladega, a lot of these guys they're wishing it wasn't the 0.
I mean, he probably would have gotten it strictly on the points finish anyway, given you know, the 2 staged wins. But yeah, completely agree with that sentiment.
$18 laps to go now. Kalinian looking for his 7th win of his NASCAR Series career and of season 5. Be 3 wins and 3 playoff races too, but again, anything could still happen here. Slowly extending the gap between him and the best of the rest challenge leader in Justin Belmonte. Ty Higginbottom starting to pull a gap here ahead of everybody else in 3rd place. He might be charging after Belmonte for that 2nd position, so that could be a couple extra points there for him in the playoff standings. 16 laps to go. Macaulay's still holding firm in 5th, but he's got a hungry Jason Heaney in behind as there's a lot of lap traffic in front of the 17. That's 4 lap cars ahead of him. Marini, Magram. Macaulay just got past O'Toole. 3 wide up top past Marini and Magram. Heaney's going to do the same. They all get through just fine.
And that lap car pack includes Kyle Knoll, who's down yet another lap. He must have had something go really wrong with that car in that incident where he got kind of crunched up with Macaulay between, you know, the lower line and that inner pit wall.
13 laps to go. Yes, the gap is closing between the 97 and the 6 for the 3rd position. Heaney looks like he's getting past Macaulay now for the 5th spot. Macaulay falling back to 6th. But one interesting thing to note here, Kalinian's stint is 58 laps, like since he last pitted. Belmonte's 50. Higginbottom and Mercado are both 34.
Oh, man. Yeah, Higginbotham could just figuratively empty the tank here potentially if he wanted to. But does he potentially try to deploy Justin Belmonte here in a bit of a bump draft to try and catch Kalinian that little bit faster?
Now, the thing is, now with 10 laps to go for Kalinian, is Belmonte's defensive antics going to cause the 97 to not be able to catch up to the 0 in time?
That's a fair point, but again, it's whether they, I mean, obviously it's late in the race, so it would be quite the call to work together, but if it means a better shot at an overall win, I mean, why wouldn't you consider it?
Lots of lap traffic going on here. 3 wide. Back to 2 wide. There's Andy Hurdle back in this one at 31 laps down. Janikowski and Binns are actually going at it for the 8th position at the moment. Jason Butler starting to catch up there as Jordan Kalinian is actually trying to get through all this lap traffic. Higginbottom has cleared Belmonte now with 7 laps to go. I believe they just caught 6. Oh, whoa.
Depending on how quickly Higginbotham's able to navigate this lap traffic, that could close the gap to Kalinian considerably here, although it looks like he's pretty well cleared this particular grouping. As I think that's Knoll coming either, well, he's in pit lane in some form, whether he's going out.
The lap traffic's actually helping the 97 and the 6. Higginbottom is now just under a second behind Kalinian, but the 97 has all this traffic to get through with 5 laps to go. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, if he does, though, that is where potentially that tire advantage could go. Oh, no.
Yeah, I think this
might seal it.
This is definitely going to seal the deal. The 97 has nowhere to go.
Scenario.
He is now dropped back to 2 seconds behind Kalinian. He's going to need a caution in order to still stand a chance here as the Zero continues to get away. 2 laps to go in the Kyle's Fried Chicken Barbecue 250.
Yeah, that's just absolutely unfortunate timing for the 97, because if he's able to clear that traffic faster, I think he gives Jordan Kalinian a real run for his money here coming to the line.
White flag for the Zero, Jordan Kalinian. Well on his way into the round of 10. It'll be 3 wins in a row. His 7th win of the season at the last Great Coliseum through the final 2 corners. Jordan Kalinian wins at Bristol.
Well, not without a little entertainment getting across the line, though.
I mean, he wanted to get it on the list of drivers involved in something, didn't he?
I mean, he made it damn close. Because, he pretty much went not full on sideways across the line, but certainly adrift, shall we say.
Even though it's not going to be a win for Higginbottom, that's still going to be massive points for him, especially with all the other playoff drivers that were involved in trouble here tonight. Kalinian going to celebrate and burn out here on the front straightaway at the world's fastest half mile in Tennessee. And I guess if we were to take off race winner just for a quick second here, Kalinian led 175 of the 250 laps here tonight. So pretty much another mostly dominant performance.
That's 70% right there for some quick math out there. That is absolutely ridiculous.
The number of laps led between Rockingham and here at Bristol are going to be, how many records would that break?
Almost all of them, I would think.
And now we're going to be interviewing him for the 4th week in a row. Fourth race week in a row. It's technically because he won at Rockingham. We had the regular season finale in the first playoff race. We did have that off week in between. It's last 4 race weeks, but technically the 4th week in the last 5. However you want to put it.
Well, I just called it Kalinian's corner earlier.
Well, Jordan Kalinian certainly conquered the last Great Coliseum here at Bristol Motor Speedway, winning the 4th annual Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250. And yes, sir, he booked his way into the round of 8. Yet again, another punching the ticket into the next round in the first race of a round, and he's not going to have to worry whatsoever at Talladega if he's involved in anything. Although, do remember, he did win the Atlanta Clash, the preseason race, right before Season 5 got underway, about a week or 2 before the GTR 250, in which he did not have as much luck in that race. So points race-wise, Superspeedway points race-wise, not ideal, really, for him thus far. Maybe he could turn it around at Talladega. Yeah, exactly. He may turn it around for Talladega, who knows, but again, do remember the Atlanta Clash that we did broadcast. So, and that was at a time where Kalinian was more of an unknown, where we really had to truly naturally find out how talented he truly was. And man, oh man, that's pretty much an understatement for how this season has gone for the number 7. Now with 7 wins on the season through 18 rounds, almost half the season. And now we're going to talk to him here in this post-race winner interview chat for the 4th race week in a row. Jordy, you can go ahead and come up with some quick questions here as I interview Kalinian, because quite frankly, knowing how tonight went, this could be a quick one. It's just okay, Jordan Kalinian, you won. That's it. You won that thing.
What else is there to say, really?
Again, it will be important to note that around the one time when he did come down pit road with a couple other leaders like Belmonte and McCauley, and he still had to make his way through all the traffic, especially split in the middle 3 wide there. He still had to go through a tad bit of adversity. I don't know if we'd even call it adversity, but he had some sort of a challenge that he was still able to conquer in some capacity, which happened at the same time when I said Kalinian's the only playoff driver that hasn't been involved in anything tonight, and then about a second later, it's just like, ha, screw you. Almost.
Pretty much. I didn't realize I was muted there the second before.
Well, you can mute yourself again to figure out the questions that you've got. So, anyways, let's try to interview this guy. Alrighty, that should do the trick.
Nice win.
Now, a little bit of a nice win comment from someone there. Jordan Kalinian, this is Regan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I've got you, Regan.
Alrighty. Let's get this straight. 4 wins in a row. 3 playoff wins in a row. You punch your ticket into the next round in just the first race. The number of laps that you've led since Rockingham, like in the last 4 races, you have probably broken many records here within the last couple of races, and throughout this whole entire first season of yours here within the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. But you got the job done here in the 4th annual Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. I will confirm that at that point where you were pretty much the only playoff driver in the field that hadn't got involved in anything all night, you had to split the middle 3 wide, and you about damn near had me jinxed. So I'll just point that out, but yeah, you mostly dominated that one. If I asked you how the hell did you do it, I feel like that would be a very odd way of asking. So just, yeah, talking about that calamity of a thing, whatever that was. I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, the end of the race there was pretty nerve-wracking. I know I had Ty coming on Russia tires. I don't know how much pressure they were, but I could definitely see him coming on the relative. The black box I got here let me know where the drivers are at. So just forced me into having to really push it through the lap cars there. They were all battling pretty hard, so it got a little bit dicey there, but I was able to make it through, throw some less than optimal moves, but I got through it and I was able to hold them off for the win.
Yeah, and as I was talking about having to split the middle there whenever you and a couple other guys came down pit road about like 25, 30 laps or so after another group had there too, you had a little bit of a challenge to get through there, both like, strategy-wise and just within traffic, and again, as you mentioned there, traffic at the end of the race. But yeah, just no matter what happened, literally nothing went against you. And again, for me to say you were the only driver not involved in any of what happened here tonight, I bet that must be a relief. Especially, too, in saying that, like, you hear that sentence, and yet Talladega is supposed to be next week. So, like, it all makes sense, right?
Absolutely. It's just grateful that I get to go to Talladega and not have to worry about being in the big one. Can kind of just go and have fun and try to avoid the big one and see if we can continue the streak.
Now, I gotta ask, were you expecting it all to now have to have 4 wins in a row?
I definitely was not expecting to have the 3 wins in a row in the playoffs. I think the new paint scheme that Kyle Noel got me here must have an extra 5 horsepower or something in it.
Yeah, a bit of Michael Waltrip rocket fuel, I'd say, maybe. But here's a couple questions here from Jordy, starting off with the swim was obviously different than the others with everything you had to navigate through. What was the biggest key to you staying out of all the trouble?
I think the biggest key was just being patient and picking and choosing my battles. There's a lot of times where you can kind of see something about to happen. You can kind of back off for a lap or two and wait for it to calm down or wait for the wreck to happen and get around it. So just leaning on some of my experience that I have here from other races and being able to just pick and choose those battles really helped me get to the win.
And he adds in, I think you may have already answered this just a little bit, but anyways, how much did the nerves tighten up as you were trying to navigate that lap traffic at the end? Because I'll add myself that Higgum and Belmonte were catching up. You were seeing in your rearview mirror, But then as you got through all the lap traffic, then the lap traffic killed them, and they went from being like 8/10 behind you to suddenly being 2 seconds back of you. So, obviously, like, you had some nerves there, but then eventually you didn't have to. But, like, how did they tighten up, though, as you were still having to navigate that lap traffic during that sequence?
They definitely tightened up a bunch. I knew if I just kind of kept that gap and kept getting by the lap cars in decent timing and catching them at the right spots, I should be pretty well, because even if they got to me, it's really hard to pass at Bristol. So if I hold that top line, I figured I'd have a really good shot at holding them off, but definitely glad I didn't have to get to that point to see what would have happened.
Absolutely. And now, considering Talladega's next week, who the hell knows if we're going to be interviewing you again. So now that you have punched your ticket to the round of 8, where again, that's going to be the first round where we have to eliminate 4 drivers, and then we move on 4 to the Championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Just in case we don't talk to you again, we all know what Talladega could possibly offer, but then again, what I just said there might completely age well. Who knows? How are you looking forward to the next round with, again, the Chicago Street Course running in the series hosting a NASCAR Series race for the first time, and then you got Auto Club to end it all off. How are you looking forward to the next round if we kind of take Talladega out of there? Because quite frankly, it's not going to be important exactly. You still could get some points out of it, but just regardless, just in case we don't talk to you again for another little bit, how are you looking forward to Chicago and Auto Club?
Looking forward to Chicago. I'm not sure how my speed's going to be there, just because it's really different from all the other road courses. I've never done a street course before, so I'm looking forward to being able to drive it, and the corners are really tight. There's walls on both sides, and it's pretty sketchy in a lot of areas. So looking forward to the new challenge and seeing what happens there. Auto Club, I anticipate it being pretty similar to some of the other tracks we've gone to already. It's a lot wider. The field should get spread out a little bit better there. So hopefully we can just make it through Chicago and get to Auto Club and keep it clean, and I think we'll have a pretty good shot of advancing.
And you know what? Screw it. I'll just ask a question about Talladega anyways. If you were to answer me in one sentence, from your perspective, what's it going to take to win at Talladega?
A little bit of speed and a lot of luck.
Makes perfect sense. That was the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian, getting the win here tonight in the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Again, 4 wins in a row, 3 playoff wins in a row, 7 wins on the season. He is well into the round of 8 in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. A dominant win here tonight at Bristol. Jordan, congratulations. And we send our sincerest salutations to you for next week and whatever happens at the cursed Talladega Superspeedway, as they so call it.
Muchly appreciated.
Alrighty, Jordy. You can come back.
I mean, I'm pulling the Daniel Ricciardo from 2021. I never left.
Yep. Anyways, unofficial results. They're all over the frickin' place. Not the glitch as we've seen before, but as in parody. Anyways, Jordan Kalinian. Yeah. Jordan Kalinian getting the win. Ty Higginbottom in second. Like, again, that's 3, 4, half the top 10 playoff drivers. The other half of the top 10 best of the rest drivers. So Ty Higginbottom second, Justin Belmonte rounding out the podium in third, Jose Mercado with a top 5. That's going to be huge points for him going into next week at Talladega, knowing that he was below the cut line going into tonight's race. Jason Heaney with a quiet performance, top 5 finish. Corbin McCauley without a front end. Last car on the lead lap finishes in 6th. Yes. Adam Wilson finishing in 7th, 1 lap down. And how about this? Jason Butler and Tom Janikowski with top 10 finishes. Trevor Binns still hanging on for a 9th place finish. We saw, again, in stage 1, early on, he was up there he was battling for the win, and then he dropped like a rock towards lowest is 13th. And then for the rest of the race, I guess he started to kind of, what in the world? There we go. we started to see him slowly start to progress into having a little bit more consistency as the race went on. A bunch of incidents started happening, but he was able to hang on, obviously one lap down, but still able to come through with a top 10 finish. Definitely on paper could have done better, knowing what the pace and the raw speed that he had here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. But yes, Jordan, I must imagine that you love this. Jason Butler top 10. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a guy that's, he's obviously been here since day one, integral to everything we do on the network side of things. Like, great to see it come out on track for him here tonight.
And now the rest of the way, we got Kyle Knoll in 11th. We saw him running up front as well, but was caught up in some shenanigans there in that third and final stage. Mark Goulet 12th. That's pretty solid for him. Mike Marini 13th. Yep. And then, there's just a ton of playoff calamity here towards the bottom of the grid. There's actually still one more driver that hasn't been shown yet, which that's gonna be tragic when whenever I have to increase the field, hit the increase field button here one more time. CD Magram 13 laps down in 14th. Andy Hurdle got 16th, 31 laps down. Charlie Sears 19th at 111 laps down, and then insert the SpongeBob violin scene.
Yeah, that one's gonna hurt. It's like, I've got the unofficial numbers here. That one hurts.
And I think I can vividly remember past Superspeedway races here within the series, especially on iRacing. The luck for Ford has been garbage. I think he still got a decent finish in the GTR 250. I might be wrong. I'd have to look back on that. But
he is a past Daytona winner in the console days, though.
Yes, that is true, yes. But iRacing-wise, if I were to look back, I might as well quickly check, just for a little bit of proof. That is not what I wanted. Oh, come on. There we go.
And
Darcy Ford got 13th, one lap down. Ouch.
I see. And while we're talking, it looks like Senor Corbin McCauley has some updated standings on SimRacer Hub, so we can talk about some official numbers here.
Yes, sir.
And they do they shake out as I have them here? Yes, they appear to. So, well, there might be a slight variance in stage points, but I can tell you the one thing, though, that it is Darcy Ford and Charlie Sears who are on the outside looking in as it relates to the playoffs, as it stands right now.
Give me a second and let me do my little thing here that I did last time. That is not the one. That's the one. Oh, for God's sakes. There we go. We can get rid of...
Was I a step too fast, perhaps? Oh, yeah. Now we match up.
Hang on. How far do we zoom in? That's a little much. There we go. Can you read that?
Well, maybe if I actually look into the control room. Yeah, I can see that, and that does, in fact, match up with what I've got in the spreadsheet. So... yes, Darcy Ford and Charlie Sears, as you can see, outside looking in, and the gap is 9 points between Darcy Ford and Andy Hurdle on the bubble.
So yeah, Kalinian's already well on his way in. McCauley should be okay on points. I'd say Higginbottom maybe, but not guaranteed, obviously, just yet. Wilson, Magram, and then Mercado, Knoll, and then just moving the way down. That's really where it's going to get interesting if anything happens next week. But yes, Kalini and McCauley holding firm on their spots. Higginbottom, Wilson moved up. Magram dropped. Jose Mercado and Kyle Knoll with impressive +3 and +4 maneuvers. But the thing is, it's only up into 6th and 7th, though, so still. Andy Hurdle -2, Darcy Ford -1. Charlie Sears, after a runner-up finish and a stage win last week, a painful -3. He is 11 points behind Andy Hurdle in the playoff standings now. So
how much do you think he was praying that Chicago would be next week instead of Talladega?
Oh, yes, man. Absolutely. I would say Charlie Sears, Andy Hurdle. You could even argue Jose Mercado in there as well, because you've seen how outstanding he's been on the road courses this season. I
believe Mercado is also a former Talladega winner. This might be console days, though.
2021.
Because it's basically been Mangrum madness ever since, with Hunter Young grabbing one last year, too.
Yeah, for the playoff race, Mangrum has won it 2 years in a row. We could see him try to go for 3 in a row, which that would be quite the feat there in the history books. I see Adam Wilson up there in the 4th. Actually, you know what? The benefit of this, you can switch back. Okay, Wilson was... Wilson was 8th after Watkins Glen, like right after the race. So that's a hell of a maneuver right there. This is how it all shaped out. This is how all the drivers were going into tonight's race.
So had moved up to 5th by that point already.
Yeah. And then voila, you have this whole shakeup.
Yeah, but I mean, that kind of adds to the intrigue of this particular time of the season, certainly. And yeah, I think you touched on it before, but yes, with the 62-point gap, Corbin McCauley could in fact not show up next week and still be through to the round of 10 or round of 8, excuse me. So that's official.
I mean, why would you not show up to Talladega though? You have a chance.
Well, I mean, pretty much for the points at this point. Like, we already know he's locked in, but I mean, we've seen the Kalanian steam train just absolutely destroy everybody here in the playoffs. Someone's got to put up a fight here.
And I guess the best way we can put the screen right now is that the track lights went out.
Yeah, I guess that's... Well, I was going to say that's our cue, but here we are back again.
Yeah, better use our faces as well, but I guess the best way to put it, put all that.
It happened. Yep. I mean, it's hilarious that you're disappearing, but I get what you're doing.
Come on. There we go.
There you go. You're kind of there now. Ironic that I'm the one wearing close to green and you're the one disappearing.
Yeah, for a moment there it was Tis Ristel, baby. So.
Yeah. Well, I think they got the point after watching this one.
Yeah, so... With all that being said, that was Bristol. Jordy, Talladega's next.
Yeah, let's just stop on that was Bristol point for a second, because I was going to say, yeah, maybe don't do that on a live broadcast, but get the point. Yeah, so, Talladega is one thing as an eliminator. That's another thing entirely. So we'll just, we kind of got what we were fearing at Bristol here. I think it has to be said. Hopefully it's not a direct replica next week, because again, we're sending 2 drivers home, and you want to do it kind of the right way. Doesn't feel like, the proper way to say it, but you want it to be done on the track, I guess is where I'm getting at, or what I'm getting at.
Indeed so. So yeah, looking at the rest of the schedule here for the rest of the season, it's hard to believe that we only have 4 races remaining here in Season 5. Talladega next week on July 30th. And then the month of August, we have 3 races within 3 weeks with the round of 8. Round 3 at the Chicago Street Course for the first time in series history. Auto Club Speedway returns for yet another race. And then Homestead Miami Speedway hosting the championship race once again for the 4th year in a row?
No, Vegas was Season 2, so 3.
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah, so 3 in a row.
Phoenix was Season 1.
Yeah, so we got Talladega Superspeedway next. Then we got the Chicago Street. So the next 2 weeks, we got Talladega Superspeedway, where we all know what that has to offer. And then we got a track that we've never been to before, and that real life NASCAR had never been to before heading into last year. They've been there twice now. So the flat track, 2 to an extent, known as the Chicago Street Course. There's a couple elevation changes and uphill, downhill stuff and blah, blah, blah. But in terms of like if you look at if you're like standing on the surface, it's pretty much straight anyways. If that's a proper way to put it, like the width or whatever. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny, like, you have all the historical significance of a lot of the tracks that we've been to in real life. Again, Chicago is kind of the iRacing heartland here because it was sort of conceived within the iRacing landscape, if I recall reading that correctly. So interesting little wrinkle for us to throw into. Again, that'll be the round of 8 opener. And yeah, for guys to earn their spots there, have fun next week.
Yes, sir. We just saw somebody comment behind the scenes. Yeah, going to be some aggressive stage racing at Talladega, possibly. Again, with the stage racing, we could see some drivers try to maybe get a little aggressive and go for some extra stage points to help themselves have a better advantage in case any carnage happens in the final stage at the Talladega Superspeedway. So that was... Okay, I guess we can kind of... Sure. Whenever I click live, it tends to go to a blank screen, so I guess we can kind of just... Or you know what, I'll just do this. Hang on. There we go. I think that'll play out fine. Anyways, so... Sure. Yeah, that was the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 250 at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, the first race of the round of 10. The number 0 from Salisbury, North Carolina, first-year phenom Jordan Kalinian, 7th win on the season, 4 wins in a row. In the playoffs, that's 3 wins in a row. He punched his ticket to the round of 8. He has nothing to worry about for next week's race at the Talladega Superspeedway. It is going to be the Piping Kettle 250 on Tuesday, July 30th, here on the Canadian eMotorsports Network YouTube channel. Live coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic. Some good old Superspeedway calamity to conclude the round of 10, where we will eliminate two more drivers from the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. So, with all that being said, we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to tonight's live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network action on iRacing for Season 5 of the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. So, on behalf of the guy who's been here since the very beginning, Jordy Carraher, other side of the country in Alberta, Canada, the Canadian eMotorsports Network Competition Committee, all sponsors and partners involved within the network, all the drivers, everybody else. My name is Regan McCauley from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Thank you all very much for watching and listening to tonight's live production. We will see you all next week for Talladega Superspeedway action, the Piping Kettle 250, round 19 of 22, the round of 10 finale in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Take care, everybody. Speed safely. Have a good one.